Hello everyone, the December Review here, back again with a movie review. Today we have the much anticipated return of one of the best and most beloved TV show families of all time. Adrian Monk, along with Natalie, Leland, Randy, and Dr. Nevin Bell, are back for the feature film Mr. Monk's Last Case, a Monk movie. Spoilers are ahead, so make sure to watch the film streaming exclusively on the Peacock app now. It's been 14 years since the final Monk episode wrapped up the series in perfect fashion. After 8 seasons and 125 episodes that were equal parts funny, heartwarming, and always a bit dysfunctional, the series wrapped in 2009. Yes, not 2019, as I misspoke on a previous video. There was talk about a feature film many years ago that didn't quite take off, though in recent interviews, show creator Andy Breckman has said that it would have been Mr. Monk for Mayor, where Adrian would have needed to win to obtain information for a case. Fast forward to 2020, and we did receive a Monk reunion during the pandemic with a quick check-in on the cast. It was a perfectly creative slam dunk to revisit the character during an otherwise difficult time frame for the world, but one that would have people wondering just how Adrian Monk would be doing. Which all leads us to the new film. Written by Andy Breckman and directed by longtime series vet Randy Zisk, Last Case picks up in current day, post-pandemic, and in the slightly changed society that's followed. One where hand sanitizer and wipes aren't exactly exclusive to Adrian anymore. Monk is in a dark place, one where hope seems to have abandoned him. We learn that he has been writing his memoir, but after 10 years without a finished book, his publisher has pulled his advance back. Money that was being used for Molly's wedding. As all of our old friends come together for the wedding, Griffin Briggs, Molly's fiancé, is investigating billionaire mogul Rick Eden over the death of his former business partner. As Griffin gets closer to the truth, he is unceremoniously taken out during a bungee jump. As Molly is convinced that this was no accident, she implores Adrian to work his magic and find out what really happened, to which Monk begrudgingly agrees to do. With a runtime just under 1 hour and 40 minutes, the film plays out much like a 2-part episode would. However, it does feel more cinematic overall, especially in its first arc, as we revisit all of our characters again. The movie settles into that more familiar Monk rhythm, which is great news for fans of the series, as it brings all of that charm and relatability that we have come to expect, but also pushes the narrative into new and, to use the word again, cinematic territory. It's a fine line to walk, but one I very much feel they achieved with great success. The biggest takeaway from the movie is Adrian and where he finds himself post-pandemic. This isn't the Adrian we last saw at the end of the series. Adrian is depressed. He is alone. He hasn't been working for some time, and he has been talking with visions of Trudy for extended periods of time. Adrian has, in fact, given up. It's a pretty emotional storyline for such a beloved character. For decades, Monk has lived with his condition, but has managed to find purpose through his support system and work. With the collection of things changing around him, Monk has not so much regressed, but lost hope. Everyone has moved on or away, leaving Molly to be the only one close by who herself is forming her future. With the loss of the book deal money seemingly being the final straw for Adrian, as he feels that he isn't much good to anyone anymore. With this arc, the movie has a line of sadness through it, and it changes the perspective of the movie's title. This isn't so much Monk's last case in terms of solving one more than retirement. This points to being Monk's last case because it's all he has left to do before he moves on. I wasn't expecting this, but it gives the character and the series some real-world weight. The show has always had its emotional storylines, either through the Trudy case or Stottlemeyer's misfortunes, or just some of the actual cases that Monk needs to solve. But it's never gone here, not really. But with all of the years Adrian has had to use excessive energy just to get by, little things most would take for granted, those moments have finally added up. But it's not all doom and gloom here. They didn't make this film just to bum all of us out. That support system is back, and it's there to help Monk through his process. There's a fantastic scene where everyone meets up again for the wedding. Plenty of hugs to go around. We catch up with the cast and welcome them back. That Monk humor is there as well, with a few extended scenes. Monk trying to leave a delivery tip is great, along with the unfortunate wrong step in a field. Randy gets some of his trademark moments, including a great scene where he tries to help the case with a Lego set, and the Randy Disher project makes a not-so-triumphant return. At the heart of the series has always been the relationship between Monk and his assistant. While we don't get a present-day Sharona return, she is here in flashback form. And Natalie is of course back and as reassuring as ever. There are a handful of great scenes of the two together, including an excellent visit to an animal shelter which sets up the film's final scene. That thoughtfulness from Natalie has always been a great series staple, and one that very much continues here with some standout work by Traylor Howard. Hector Elizondo is back as Monk's therapist, and the pair share a quite stunning scene together. Hector is actually retired from acting, but once he read the story he agreed to come back. The scene stands out for many reasons, one of which is quite poignant. At this point in the film, no one knows what Adrian is up to. Others have scoffed when he mentions he has plans. After actually missing an appointment, something that seems impossible, Dr. Bell is now aware of the situation. And the pair exchange some thoughtful words. Again, there is this sadness that underlines the film, and here we get a moment to reflect on their friendship. Thankfully, Hector agreed to be here. It's a great moment in the film and the whole series. For the actual mystery itself, it isn't much of a mystery as to who and why is pretty much answered very early on. The villain here is molded from real-world events combining Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk to create its billionaire antagonist. The only real unanswered question is how they did it, which does manage to sustain itself until Adrian is able to figure it out. This is a bit of a departure from the series. Most of the cases Monk was involved with were pretty elaborate. Even if you knew who did what, there was usually some unique twist to it. Here, it's a bit more standard than that. However, while the mystery has big ramifications in Monk's inner circle, the film is much more about where Adrian is overall. Behind the lens, director Randy Zisk brings some really interesting moments to the feature film. There's a great zoom-in scene where Monk is talking with Leland, and the camera starts all the way over across the room, slowly moving ahead to our pair during their conversation. The camera manages to find its way into the more traditional viewpoint right at the end, where its character's emotional reaction can end the scene. It's moments like this that help elevate the feature from feeling exactly like the TV series. Another example is when Adrian is panicking in a field after his, misstep. The camera angle stays low with Adrian, cutting in and out of the moment. Each time we cut back to Adrian, that same angle is there, which helps the screen mimic the panic of its character. The score is also very interesting here. We don't get the traditional theme song intro since this is a feature film, and with the seriousness of the story, the jungle out there just wouldn't seem to fit. But the film manages to sneak it in a very clever way before surprisingly ending on the original instrumental Monk's theme by Jeff Beal. In some ways, it's a great musical bookend to the series. However, Randy Newman, the writer and performer of said theme, does get some screen time, and his familiar voice is included with the emotional song I Think It's Going to Rain Today. Overall, Mr. Monk's Last Case, a Monk movie, is an exceptional return from one of the best TV shows to grace the screen. The more serious and somber storyline is entwined with breadcrumbs of hope. Its overall positive message to focus on the good is reinforced with the backdrop of Adrian's friends and family, and a seriously excellent final scene. There's plenty of humor to be found, maybe more so in subsequent viewings once the tension of its lead is worked through. The film manages to feel cinematic while also keeping its traditional episodic structure. It ups the ante for its lead character and creates maybe its most considerable villain for the series to date. And no, it's not the evil billionaire, but Adrian's biggest challenge just might be himself. This might not be the last time we see Mr. Monk. There are talks about returning for another potential film down the line. That is of course only possible by the success of this film, to which I highly recommend seeking out Mr. Monk's Last Case, for it's already a great success. In a landscape where things can add up quickly to bring you down, welcoming back Adrian, Natalie, Leland, and Randy is what we need more of. I could be wrong now, but I don't think so. So a big thank you to the entire Monk universe for gracefully saying hello again. I give Mr. Monk's Last Case, a Monk movie, the coveted December review 5-star award for excellence. It's a great film, it's a great series. Go check it out.